but there's no money. Like, you gotta fund the trust for the horses, and you can just say, you know, if there's 100,000 left over from my estate, that can take care of the horses, but what if it's not there? So that's what I want to talk to you guys about. I would like for you to look through your checklist, and if there's things, there's several things on here that Carter talked about. So if you want more information about that, just check it off or write it in, and we can get together with you and answer your questions. So this is me. I'm an equestrian too. This is my pony, Amigo. Some of you guys know Amigo. I call him my super pony. He fox hunted. He's 29 this year, and he fox hunted until like 3 years ago. Sometimes first flight, inadvertently. And now he volunteers and does track. So I'm with you guys. I mean, I care a lot about my horses. I want to make sure that they're taken care of if something happens to me too. So all on. Does anybody know what that means? The hunting term, all on? Right? So that's when the hounds are gathered around and they're ready to get started. Okay? So now that you guys are paying attention, how do you fund your pet trust? So Carter talks about you can use a bank account or an investment account. You can title it to the pet trust, so it could, you know, the name of the account could be the Gina Meredith Pet Trust or Revocable Trust, whichever way you wind up doing it. Or you can name the trust as the beneficiary on an account, but it's probably much better to just designate the account as money for, you know, that's in the pet trust. That way, and tell me if I'm right, Carter, that way if you become incapacitated, that money is set aside and you've named somebody to manage that money and take care of your horses with it. Make sense? Okay, or you can do it by will. You can have your will pour over into the pet trust, which I see this sometimes, but you have to be careful that it doesn't go through probate and hold your assets up. Just like Carter talked about. Okay, so hold hard, y'all know what that means? Hold hard is a very rapid stop in the hunt field. So it's like, hold hard, you know, everybody slams on the brakes. What are the risks of funding these trusts? One risk that we're experiencing right now is inflation. If you have money in a bank account to take care of your horses, I mean, hopefully you're going to be okay for a while, and it might be 15, 20 years down the road before that money's needed. Your money's not going to keep up with inflation in a bank account. Like, the cost of care is going to be much higher, you know, 15 or 20 years from now. So inflation is a risk. There's stock market risk. If you have your money invested in an investment account, which you need to do to keep up with inflation, you need to make sure that it's managed correctly for the purpose that you intend. You want to make sure that it's not too aggressive, that the value of the account hasn't suddenly dropped like everything has right now, and then the money's needed to take care of your horses. So you want to make sure that you manage the account correctly for market risk. The other risk is health, which we've talked a lot about, incapacity, disability. We have not talked about long-term care. So you guys are worried about your horses, but if you're incapacitated, you need care too, and that's very expensive care. If somebody's having to come into your home and take care of you, or if you're in a facility, you need money set aside for your care so that there's money to take care of your horses. Make sense? All right. What?
Just need money.
You need money. That's exactly what I'm getting to. So heart, you can fund a pet trust or a revocable trust with insurance. Like we don't all have a couple of $100,000 laying around that we can just put into an account to take care of our horses, right? Like some of us do, but some of us don't. So you can use, like, this is me just getting creative. You can use insurance to fund a pet trust if you do it the right way. And insurance can be more efficient with less cost, less risk, tax-free death benefit, and a lot of other tax advantages, and it can cover other risks that you have, like disability, incapacity, and long-term care. So how does that work? So with life insurance, this is just an example that I'll go through very quickly. There is a handout out there on the table that goes into this more about life insurance. You have to use the correct type of life insurance policy for this to work. A term policy will not work. Statistically, you're going to outlive a term policy. So that money's not going to be there when you die. And it's also not available while you're still alive. But this type of policy, and I don't have a pointer, but the red line is the premium line, and this type of policy, the premium is guaranteed. Flat, it's not going to increase. The premium is guaranteed. The policy is guaranteed to age 120, so you're probably not going to outlive it, right? If you live to 120, the policy pays out. Whatever the death benefits grown to, it goes to you with these policies. So if we start the death benefit at 200,000, the blue line, the death benefit grows over time. The premium is level, but the death benefit is growing. And I ran this for a 40-year-old female in good health, and by the time she reaches, well, I mean, she's not going to reach 120, but if she did, there would be over $1 million death benefit. So it grows over time. That death benefit, if you die, of course, can go to fund anything you want it to. It can fund, a pet trust or whatever you need it to. Or it can go to your other beneficiaries. But you can access, with some of these policies, you can access most of the death benefit tax-free to pay for your, I started to say to pay for your care. That's not even correct. If you qualify for long-term care, which you probably will if you're incapacitated. Incapacitated means you probably have dementia or some other cognitive disorder, or you're physically unable to take care of yourself. That's qualification for long-term care. If that's your situation, you can access this death benefit while you're alive, tax-free. And guess what? You can use that to take care of yourself or your horses or both. The cash value is the green line, starts at 0, and as you pay premiums into the policy, the cash value grows as well, so that by 120, the cash value equals the death benefit. This cash value amount, anything below the green line, can be accessed for anything. This is your asset. So you can pull money out of the policy either by loan or just taking withdrawals, and you can use it for anything. It could be, to take care of your horses or emergencies, disability, whatever. So also the cash value in this policy, not in South Carolina, but in North Carolina, is protected from creditors. So if you get sued,
What kind of policy is this? I'm sorry.
this is a life insurance policy, a permanent life insurance policy.
The whole life?
It's a whole life policy. Not all whole life policies do this. some do have these benefits, but this is the only way that I could come up with, that if you don't have this money laying around, that you can afford to set money aside that gives you the flexibility to do, to take care of yourself and your horses.
So is the beneficiary then listed as your pet trust?
It could be, or it could be a combination.
And on a policy like that, what is the premium?
It depends on, that brings me to the next slide. So the premium is based on your age and your health rating. So there is an underwriting process that you have to go through to figure out what your health is. Like I said, that illustration that I showed was a 40-year-old female in good health, and the premium for $200,000 was a little under $300 a month. So if you can't afford that, you could do $100,000 for $150 a month. So the older you get, the more expensive these policies get, but they work. The other thing that we can do is we can front load these policies. Instead of paying premiums till you're 100, we can pay higher premiums over 7, 8, 9, 10 years and front load cash into the policy and really make it grow faster. So you've got a bucket of money there that you can use for a lot of different things. So, like I said, and again, it's guaranteed to age 120. So, do you guys have any other questions before we call it a day? If make sure you check off your forms. If you want to learn more about the insurance, there's a handout out there, and I'll be glad to talk to you and give you some numbers based on your, what your situation is. Also, if you want to review your investment accounts, we can do that. Just check off whatever you need on the sheet. And away.
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.